Watcher, I hope you're doing okay. It's Paul from Creative Walden here again at Ferrycroft House to welcome you to episode 3 of Lockdown TV. We got some wonderful poetry coming up shortly. Mark Start is back. He's got some fascinating facts about Saffron Walden. We've got a very special guest on What's on Your Desk. We've got drama, music, film, cooking, cycling, photography. And if you've been staring at your old guitar wondering how you're going to get it in tune, Alfie is here to show you how to restring and tune your guitar, so don't miss that. So, first we have to talk about a serious matter. You may remember in our first episode we wished Grace, pictured here, a happy birthday. What can I say? I'm so sorry. The thing is, Grace, who was not 13 as I'd stated, was 14. I know, you're all probably throwing things at the screen right now. But Grace, if you're watching, I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me. And now even more terrible news. Reports of an alien abduction in Saffron Walden.
I'm back.
Great. Now don't forget to wash your hands.
I won't. I'll do it later. That was close. Now's probably a good time to go and wash my hands.
It's Poetry Corner.
This week we are blessed with a couple of wonderful poems that have been sent in.
My house is the best, it's better than all the rest, 'cause we can run free, we're a very happy family. Lockdown 2020 in the field, as COVID-19 completely sealed. We're all very proud of the NHS, 'cause they're helping us get out of this big fat mess. Lovely food and veg from our community helps our rumbling tummies and sanity. I love where I live. By Archie May, 9 years old.
For those who fly on the wings of song, there's one place in Walden we all can call home. Our carrier, our flagship, where we all meet, no matter if our day has brought triumph or defeat. Our beacon, our lighthouse, whatever life brings. Our studio, our stage, it makes our hearts sing. Our home from home, it gives the heart wings. The culture, the banter, all wonderful things. But times now are troubled with COVID-19, the hardest of times our generation has seen. We can't visit the croft and that makes us feel blue. She's abandoned and drifting with a skeleton crew. But hold on a second, this just isn't true. She's back in the battle with so much to do. The coolest of content that you'll ever see is here for us all. It's on Lockdown TV. With poems and interviews and cartoons galore. Think Ferrycroft's done? No, she's giving us more. With Lee, Tim and Alfie and Paul at the pumps, the old place is afloat and broadcasting love. Fast eddies are silent, the corridor's cold. Happiness now would seem rarer than gold, but the message our Ferrycroft beams on the net is have hope, keep faith, and we'll beat this yet. Yes, times are now troubled with COVID-19, the hardest of times our generation has seen, but the coolest of content that you'll ever see is still here for us all. It's on Lockdown TV. Thanks a lot, guys. It's brilliant.
Thank you, fellas. We really appreciate your contributions. We've had some wonderful support within the community and everybody who's anybody is sharing this. So a big thanks to you. And as you can see from this, we even have royal approval. And now it's time to do the right thing. Do the right thing. Remember that freedom is coming, and when we get it, we'll be planning to make a book recounting everybody's experience throughout the lockdown. So make your journals, poems, stories, observations. How do you feel about the lockdown? Who did you miss most? Have you enjoyed having your family around more? What are you doing to keep busy? Dare I say it, Have you even missed going to school?
Ugh. Dad, do we have to go to school? It's so boring. Ugh, Dad, please, please. I want to go to school. I want to see my friends.
Now it's time for the bookshelf. Reading is a great way to escape from all the hullabaloo of lockdown. There's nothing better than to disappear into the pages of a great story. There's a real sense of our community that everyone wants to help each other out, as demonstrated when I spotted a mobile library of sorts as I was out walking recently. What an ingenious idea. Now, one of my favourite children's books is Michael Mapogo's Why the Whales Came. It's such an imaginative adventure, probably his best story to date. What's your favourite book? Send us in a video of your book review and you could feature on Lockdown TV. Remember to check out the tips on filming later in the programme. Now Mark Stark from the Tourist Information Centre escorts us through the mists of time to uncover another interesting fact about the wonderful place we call Saffron Walden.
Did you know that we had an Oscar-winning cinematographer living in Saffron Walden? Well, we did have. He lived here between 1993 and the year 2000. He lived in the High Street, and there was a plaque, a blue plaque, on the house where he lived. His name was Jack Cardiff, and he was given an honorary Oscar by the American Academy for his development of cinema and for his classic films, which included The Red Shoes, A Matter of Life and Death, and Black Narcissus.
Hasn't it been inspiring seeing the old soldier, Captain Tom Moore, who will be 100 on the 30th of April this year, getting out and raising millions for the NHS? You can't keep a good man down. At the last count, he'd raised over £16 million. Now here's the residents of Saffron Walden showing their appreciation. Now on to films. Here with three absolute corkers is Izzy Poles, the DOP on Zombie Occupation, who knows a thing or two about what makes a great film.
One of my favourite films is American Sniper. It's a very intense, shocking film. You're sort of left on the edge of your seat for most of the film. Watched it quite a few times. Yeah, very, very, very good film.
I got a military-age male on a cell phone watching the convoy over.
If you think he's reporting troop movement, you have a green light. Your call, over.
Hold on, I got a woman and a kid 200 yards out, moving towards the convoy. Her arms aren't swinging, she's carrying something. Yeah, she's got a grenade. She's got an RKG Russian grenade. She's saying to the kid.
You say a woman and a kid?
You got eyes on this? Can you confirm?
Negative. Your call.
They fry you if you're wrong.
Another film I really enjoy is Jumanji, the new one. Obviously it's like sort of based off the original, like a remake, but it's a good concept. It's a different concept, you know, there's a bit of humour in the film. Yeah, very, very good watch.
Jumanji. You pick a character and then you're that person in the game. Should we play?
What's happening to your hands? Holy shit!
Oh my God. Fridge?
Yeah, I'm Fridge. Who are you?
Me, Spencer. Martha?
Yeah.
I think we got sucked into the game, and we've all become the avatars we chose.
So that means...
Bethany?
I'm an overweight middle-aged man.
If we don't want to get stuck in Jumanji, we have to help each other.
Maybe we're all in a coma. What? That old game machine must have electrocuted all...
You better get in there and go save her.
I'm not getting in there.
Are you okay?
I'm still an old fat guy, right?
I'm afraid so. I have to warn you, I think I'm a very strong puncher.
That is insane.
What is this game? Don't let this new body get your butt whooped.
I'd like to see you try.
What the hell?
My third favourite is the Godfather film series. Yes, they're very long films, but they're interesting, you know. They're not based off a true story, but, you know, the mafia do exist, so it's a very good insight into that. And obviously my favourite film is Zombie Occupation. Very good watch, would highly recommend.
Yeah, Steve, it's everything's going really well. Yeah. 40th anniversary for the first album. Fantastic. Yeah. The new Lana album's going really well, Steve. Really well. Yeah. Anyway, look, Steve, thanks for calling, mate. But I've got an important phone call, mate. I've got to phone an important person up. So give us a call another time, Steve. All right, mate. Lovely. Tell her, mate. Bye.
I wonder who that can be. Hello?
Hello, Paul.
Wow. It's Iron Maiden legend, Dennis Stratton. Hello, Dennis?
Hello, mate. Dennis Stratton. Just, how are you? All right?
Yeah, we're all good. What are you up to, my friend?
Yeah, I just had Steve Harris on the phone. Yeah, 40th anniversary of Iron Maiden and first album, and asking about Lana, but I had to put him off because I had more important things to talk about, mate. Yeah. Anyway, Paul, thought I'd just phone up to find out what's on your desk.
I tell you what, Dennis, I've got a cracking collection this week. Let's have a look. Well, what have we got here? We got some money. There's some florins from Hungary and some old lira. Let's hope we've still got notes this time next year. We've got the old... Got a flag from the Isle of Man. I had a holiday there last year. Absolutely fantastic place to go. Can't recommend it highly enough. Got our saffron Walden tea towel. And we got a selection of tickets from Saffron Screen, the wonderful Saffron Screen. Some fantastic films we've seen over the years. And we even got a Del Trotter. But the piece de la resistance is the Iron Maiden album. Now, Dennis Stratton featured on this in 1980. It's the 40th anniversary, as you might have just heard him say. This is an album, and his style, which is Dennis created himself, changed the face of heavy metal. So, there we go. That's what we got on our desk today. Lockdown TV is here for you. This show is your show. Send us in your videos. Here's a little film with some tips on how to do it. Watcher, it's Paul from Creative Walden here, just with a few tips on how to make the best out of filming on your mobile phone. Firstly, speak nice and slowly and clearly. Don't rush it. You've got plenty of time. If you're filming landscape, it fills the screen. If you're doing portrait, we get these little things. The black bars, which don't look that great. Try and keep the iPhone or iPad steady while you're filming. If you have trouble with that, just ask someone to hold it for you while you do your piece. Don't do it straight off the bat. Practice your piece first, and it will be a better experience for you and the people watching. Avoid boring backgrounds and strange angles. Try and find something interesting to stand in front of. Perhaps your bedroom has some interesting posters, or your study, or maybe you have a nice painting in your house that you can stand in front of. Or a bookshelf full of your favourite books. Mostly, have fun, do your best, share your talents, and let's get through these challenging times together. Take care and good luck.
So on this episode for Alfie's challenge, we've got a fun one for you. Now, I've seen a lot of people doing this as well, so we decided to try as a family, is doing a family and friends quiz night, which is really, really lovely for us because our granddad is having to self-isolate on his own, and it was really, really nice to be able to spend some time and actually interact with him. So, I was tasked with making the music round. There's this wonderful show called Never Mind the Buzzcocks that used to run, and one of the challenges, or one of the sections of it, is the intros round. What you have to do is, just using your voice, is recreate the intro of a famous song. So I managed to rope my sister into this.
Ding cha, 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 ding.
Wow, 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 wow!
There were some tricky ones there. I wonder how many you've got. So please, I implore you to send in your videos as well. It's really, really simple and quite fun to do at home.
Not everyone is unhappy about the lockdown. Here's lockdown from a dog's point of view, followed by some fantastic pet pics. Send yours in.
This is rubbish. I'm stuck at home.
This is great! My humans are here all the time and I get lots of walks.
Come on, let's go take you for your walk.
Oh, this is the best time of my life.
At this point, I have to say it's really important to protect the most vulnerable people in your household. People with asthma, bronchitis, those suffering or surviving cancer are particularly at risk. Remember to eat healthily, get your exercise. Vitamin D, vitamin C and zinc are particularly helpful in staving off infections. Eat eggs, oranges and take it easy on the junk food. We've been given another 3-week sentence and there's not much we can do about that. Don't spend too much time with the scaremongers and the self-appointed judges in the media and online. Fear has a detrimental effect on your immune system. Check our previous episodes on how to deal with stress. Please also take some perspective on this. Look beyond the harrowing headlines. Over 90% of the deaths from COVID-19 are on patients with other severe illnesses. COVID-19 is real, but it is currently receding, so keep doing what you're doing and let's hope we can be free soon. And don't take heed of people like this.
Good morning. Phyllis Crotched here. Well, it's not really a very good morning. That thing about the garden gnome spreading the virus was a load of old nonsense. I should have known better than listening to that Sarah the Lip. Blimey. Anyway, it's worse than that. Much worse than that is I've got to stay indoors. Listening to that yibba yabba, God knows what else from them bleeding neighbours. They pretend they don't know, but I can hear them. Laughing and joking. And twice they've been singing. Singing! Don't they know there's a war on? Well, it's not an actual war, but they've got no right acting like that. You're not supposed to be happy, you know. It's not right. And I think
All I can say to all the doom-mongers and naysayers is, quite frankly, bore off.
Welcome to my new cooking show. Today we will show you a traditional dish passed down through the generations, or maybe off the internet. In the kitchen, it can be dangerous, so remember to have a responsible adult with you. Or maybe just ask your dad, because we don't want any accidents. We got organic chicken, fish from the farm. Mwah. We've got flour. Oh, stinky. And we got eggs. Ooh, tasty. And we got crisps. Ooh, crispy. Pick up a piece of chicken and place it in the flour. And then you need to quickly swish it around in the egg. And then quickly dip it in the crisps. Swish it around, make sure it's really covered, just like the flour. And then if you're a young child, you may need to put it on this. And then drop it in here. So you need to do this as many times as possible until you have no chicken left. And just keep doing it as quick as you can. Dip it around in there, mush it around, and then what we have used is ready salted. So for our result, we will get ready salted chicken nuggets. The good thing about this dish is that, unlike fast food restaurants, this is all made out of good quality food. And that's very good if you want to stay healthy. You may get your hands a bit dirty, but that's all part of the fun. You have to make sure you flip them over so they get brown on both sides. You can't have chicken nuggets without our old friend chips. And I like mine with peas. I think we're ready now. You need to turn the cook off. Ronald McDonald, eat your heart out.
Remember to send your cooking videos into info@Creative Walden, and if you only take one tip from our early advice, please use your videos in landscape so we can fill the screen and avoid the black bars. Martin Porter has some more photographic advice for you now.
Good afternoon. My name is Martin. I'm a photographer for Mart's Arts Photography. I'm a specialist music photographer and a bit of nature photography on the side. I am the resident photographer for Ferrycroft House, from which I'm filming right now. Right, this leads me to framing. When you're taking photographs, obviously the most key important thing is what it looks like. Now there are many technical schools of thought on how you frame a photograph. It's too in-depth for me. This is a beginner's lesson to inspire young photographers to get out and just practice. And that's all I would suggest you do. Or you can look at a photograph and you know if it's a good composition or it's not. If you're a photographer, be it a beginner or an experienced photographer, you know what a photograph should look like. You shouldn't really be lectured to. The one thing I would say is, don't be afraid to crop a photograph in hindsight. Take as many photographs as you can and practice. Practice and practice and practice. That is probably the most important thing in learning your chops of framing a photograph. There's the rule of the third, there's parallel lines. Don't crop people's heads out, don't crop limbs out. Try to keep headstocks in if you're photographing guitars. Even then, there are exceptions to the rule. You'll know the best feedback you can get is from your family members. I wouldn't go wading in, posting photographs to professionals. You'll find that a few people will be unduly negative and knock your confidence. I wouldn't do that. I suggest you learn your tricks by practicing and in your heart knowing what is right and what you like.
Good to see a lot more of you people enjoying yourselves on your bikes. Now here's Roy with a lowdown on how to change your tyre.
Get on your bike, get on your bike. On your bike with, get on your bike, get on your bike. On your bike with, get on your bike, get on your bike. On your bike with Roy.
Hello, I'm Roy Mason from Creative Walden, and today I'm going to be making a short video about basic bike maintenance and the things to check before you go out on your bike for the first time.
Get on your bike, get on your bike. On your bike with, get on your bike, get on your bike. On your bike with Roy.
For either repairing a puncture or replacing a tube, you're going to need the following items: tyre spanners, replacement tube in the case of swapping it, puncture repair kit in the case of repairing it, and obviously a pump. To either replace or repair in the case of a puncture, first thing you need to do is to remove the old one. In preparation, you need to remove the cap, obviously ensure that the valve is fully exposed and there's no air in it, and loosen this nut off here. Remove it all the way. Keep both of these in the case of puncture repair. If you're replacing, there may be new ones on the new inner tube. Unless you have a bike stand, the best way to do this is turn the bike upside down and rest it on the handlebars and the saddle. The next part is to look for a release mechanism that allows the brakes to spring fully open so they're away from the wheel. There's usually a lever on modern bikes that allows you to release the pressure on the caliper. On these, it is an old mechanism that is sprung loaded here, and I need to release that tension. The cable drops out, and then the brakes spring away, allowing the wheel freedom to come out. The next thing is to loosen the wheel from the frame. This has got a quick release lever. Loosen it off both sides until the wheel can be removed from the frame. Now that it's loosened fully, remove the wheel from the frame. The next part is to remove the tyre itself. You'll need at least 2 tyre levers with the scooped way that way to put in the rim, get under the edge of the tyre. Like so. Then grab the other tyre lever, put it in adjacent to the other one. So you have 2, and then using both hands work them apart until you have the beading of the tyre over the rim all on one side. Now that the beading is free all the way around the wheel, you need to use both hands, lift the beading away from the rim, force the valve up inside the tyre, and then remove the tube out this side. You can see I've now got the inner tube and the valve free from inside the rim. In the case of repairing a puncture, examine the outside of the wheel to identify where the puncture was. That way you can use the chalk in the puncture repair kit to mark the position on the inner tube before you remove it from the wheel. Having done so and having marked it, you then start to pull the inner tube out and do this all the way around the wheel. Having marked the area of the tyre where the puncture is, the first thing to do is to use the little piece of sandpaper that's in the puncture repair kit to roughen the area to give the glue something to adhere to. Once you've thoroughly done that, you choose the size of the patch for the puncture that you're going to repair. Various sizes as you see. You then apply the glue, which takes about 5 minutes to set, and apply it to cover the whole of the area of the patch. Once that has been applied and has dried, you then use the chalk to cover over the area to make sure that it is smooth. The other thing to do is then to check the inside of the tyre where the puncture was and make sure there's no residual debris that could give you another puncture. So clear out the inside of the tyre thoroughly. With both a puncture repair and a new inner tube, put enough air in it so that it starts to hold its own shape. This makes it a lot easier to put it back. Putting the inner tube back is a reverse of the procedure to remove it. So the first thing to do is to start with the valve, put this under the bead of the tyre and drop it in through the rim, and then work this under the beading all the way around the tyre. You can see I've got the valve through the rim now. You'll need to use both hands to feed the inner tube in all the way around the tyre. Now comes the difficult bit where you'll need to use both hands and possibly the tyre levers at the end. You need to start feeding the beading back over the rim, work this all the way around, but you need to make sure that you don't pinch the inner tube between the beading of the tyre and the rim. So take your time, go slowly. With the beading all over the rim, stand up and pull the beading back all the way around using both hands and just check that the inner tube hasn't been pinched between the beading and the rim. Once you've checked the tyre and you're happy with it, then replace the nut over the valve, tighten this up as full as you can, then inflate the tyre as before to pressure. You will need to tighten this up as you do so at the end. Then replace the cover and then you can put the wheel back in the frame of the bike. With the wheel back in the frame, then tighten up the nut, lock it into place, making sure it's tight on both sides. Then obviously make sure you close the brake mechanism so they're back locked, then turn the bike over, test once the brakes are back that the brake works, and then you're ready to go.
It's time now to transfer over to our sister station, Puppet TV.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Puppet Shopping Show. Yay! Jeff, we talked about this. This is a classy show, no screaming. Sorry, Rita. Right, our first item is a delicious beetroot. Jeff, get the beetroot. Oh, Jeff, put it down. No one wants a beetroot that's been in your mouth. That's disgusting. Sorry, Rita. I don't have hands. Well, our next item is much more exciting and now way less disgusting. It is the set of keys to a brand new keys. I love keys. I love playing with keys and looking at keys and eating keys. They're so shiny. Jeff, the item is a car. C-A-R. No one would pay good money for keys, you moron. Ah, it seems we have a bidder. Hello?
Yes, hello. I'd like to bid £10,000.
For the car?
No, for the keys. I don't want a car. I just love shiny keys and I'm incredibly rich.
But... what? You know what, Jeff? You can just run the show. I quit. I think I'm going to run it. You're not taking it seriously.
If you love football, you're going to love what we have for you now. Back in 2017, local football hero Stuart Wardley was interviewed by one of our documentary pupils.
Hi, I'm Alex Owens. I'm here at Caton's Lane, home of Saffron Walden Town Football Club, the 19th oldest club in the world, and today I'm going to be interviewing the manager Stuart Wardley. Tell us about the day you got the call to say Queen's Park Rangers were interested in signing you.
Tim Moylett, that was the manager then, said to me, we're playing Cockfosters away, but you can't play. And I said, I want to play in this cup game. The chairman then said, no, you won't be, because you're playing in a trial match tomorrow for QPR. And I just laughed and thought it was a joke. He said, no, this is serious. And lo and behold, I had a trial the next day.
How did you feel inside on your first day at QPR?
When I was in the changing room and I sat there and I was literally petrified. One of the older senior pros then come in, Timmy Breaker, who was at West Ham, and he said, how you doing? You're right, I'm Tim. And I was like, I used to watch him on TV and stuff like that, him and Gavin Pickett and a few others. But once I got, into the swing of it, it was just like any other training.
Tell us about your debut, pulling on the famous hoops in front of the Rangers faithful.
I can remember it like it was yesterday. I invited the boys up from Saffron Walden. Scoring 2 goals on my home debut was something else, and obviously from there it just catapulted, and it was nice for them all to see.
From playing non-league at Saffron Walden Town to playing in front of 16,000 fans at Loftus Road, how did you cope with the pressure?
And the atmosphere only helped me, and the adrenaline of playing in front of that many people, it was just brilliant every week. It just gave you that extra 10%.
What was it like training under England legend Jerry Francis?
When I first got there, I thought to myself, I'd only be in the reserves, and he said I'll be training with the first team, and he was brilliant to me. He just gave me a bit more experience in the whole knowledge of the game. He believed in me, and we just went from there.
You also worked under Ian Holloway. What was that like?
Yeah, that was a bit different. He is such a character, a really, really funny bloke. He's got his own ways of coaching. He expresses himself a lot in his training, which is quite funny sometimes.
You won Player of the Year while at QPR. Tell us about that.
I was leading goal scorer. It was just a roller coaster, and which I was loving every minute of. I had really good, relationship with the fans, and the honour of them choosing me to be Player of the Year was just, a icing on the cake for me, really, and it was a really proud moment for me.
There was a lot of boardroom turmoil at QPR during your time. Did that have any effect on the players?
It did in a way, because the following year we got relegated, and obviously there was a lot of talk in around the boardroom whether we were going to go into liquidation and things like that, and some people might say it didn't, but I personally thought it did, and the atmosphere around the club wasn't the same.
Have you ever been seriously injured?
Yeah, when I left QPR, I went to Rushden Diamonds, and I got really badly injured there. I was in a tackle. That put me out for a year and a half. The surgeon said I might not ever play again, and them words back then that was quite scary.
Have you ever pulled pranks or had them pulled on you as a footballer?
I remember vividly one of my very first jumpers I bought. It was really expensive when I was at QPR. After training, I come back, I went to put my jumper on, thinking, what's something funny about my jumper? And I looked, and they'd cut the patches out, which was, at the time, it was lucky I was playing there, otherwise I'd probably gone mad, but it was good fun.
When you look back in hindsight, what changes, if any, would you have made to your career?
Would have stayed in a bit more. Probably I could have done trained a little bit harder, even though we were still training hard, but them extra bits to become a better player.
There's been a growing sense of confidence about the Bloods over the last few years. What is your ambition with the club?
On a managerial level, I just think I'd love to see the boys get into the Ryman, if not a little bit higher.
What advice would you give to young players in the town who dream of making their way in the game?
Never give up, never stop believing, and work hard.
My dad coaches the under-18s team and always stresses that they must keep focus. What do you think of that?
Definitely, 100%. Yeah. Focus and concentration is key factors in a game of football. So I'll make your dad right there.
Here are the answers to them.
Ding cha, ding cha, ding cha.
Wow, 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 wow!
Dun 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 dun.
I implore you to send some in. They're so easy and really, really fun to make. So if you send them in to info@creativewarden.co.uk, maybe we'll be seeing you next episode on Lockdown TV. Good luck. So this week on our music section, we have the wonderful Zombinis with their song Love at First Bite. They were part of the zombie occupation film we made. The dancers were brought together by Lucy Taylor, choreographed by her as well, and the lead dancer is Alfie Frostig. I hope you enjoy.
I'm feeling hungry tonight, boy, it's love at first bite. It's just feeling so right that I'm in love with a zombie. With me too. Now I'm a zombie, just like you. I'm a zombie with my zombie crew. I'm a zombie, you'll be a zombie too. I knew it right from the start. You devoured my heart. You're my gristle and beef. I've got you stuck in my teeth. They say that it will not last. They say it's all tongue in cheek, but I'll still love you next week, 'cause I'm in love with a zombie. With me too. I'm a zombie, just like you. I'm a zombie, with my zombie crew. I'm a zombie, you'll be a zombie too. We'll be joined in blood and gore. You know that zombie love will rule the world. I'm in love with a zombie. With me too. Now I'm a zombie, just like you. I'm a zombie, my zombie crew. I'm a zombie, I'll be a zombie too. I knew it right from the start. You devoured my heart. You're my gristle and beef. I've got you stuck in my teeth. They say that it will not last. They say it's all tongue in cheek, but I'll still love you next week, 'cause I'm in love with a zombie. With me too. I'm a zombie, just like you. I'm a zombie, my zombie crew. I'm a zombie, I'll be a zombie too. We'll be joined in blood and gore. You know that zombie love will rule the world.
Hey guys, welcome back. I am back in Fairycroft House, just heading into the studio now. I've got a lovely new camera, and I've got a new video for you today. So yesterday I shot a video in the studio when it was still built about how to retune and restring your guitar. Now, some of you might have a parent or a sibling that has a guitar lying around that they haven't touched in quite a while. And it's very easy to restring, retune, and get it sounding wonderful again. So I'll hand you over to me from yesterday, showing you how to do it. So as I said, today I'm going to show you how to restring a guitar. This is one of my old Washburns. I haven't played it for probably 3 years properly, and it's got old manky strings on that are all oxidising. Surprisingly, it is still in tune, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to show you how I'm going to restring this today. So we're going to start by loosening all the tuning forks on the top here. Now you can get tools that detune them a lot quicker, but there's no real need, because you can do them quick enough just by hand. And you want them nice and loose so they sound all flappy, just like that. So now we've got a gorgeously detuned guitar. See, we've got a lot of stretch and a lot of play in the string. Now what I've got here is a small little multi-tool, and it's lovely because it's got very small little cutters in on the edge, and I'm just going to cut the strings over the sound hole, cut them in half because we're not going to need them again. So they're all cut off. The reason we loosened them before is to get rid of the tension. So when you cut them, they don't jump up and smash you in the face. So that's one of the fears always when retuning a guitar, is getting hit in the face with one of the strings. So you just wind off the old strings. I'm just going to throw them on the floor for a minute. Around the tuning heads. So I've just got the all the loose bits at the top of the string, and what's really nice and simple, if you get them together and wrap them around, they stay in fairly tight, and then it's a bit easier to clean up afterwards. Now I still have the ones to get off of the bridge. Now because this is old and I haven't played it for a while, sometimes these nuts, these little pins in here, yeah, can be quite tight to get out. So what I'm going to do again is get the multi-tool and just gently twist it to loosen some of the tension. You can also put your hand in through the sound hole and you can feel the pins underneath and give them a bit of pressure underneath if they're being a bit tricky like this one is. Slowly and surely. That pin pops out. So what you can see, the pins are nice and simple. They've got a little grooved indent in them. If I show you there, see the little grooved indent? And that's where the string sits when you put it back in. So get the old bit of string and put that on the side. And you want to make sure you keep these safe because they're small and they're easy to be lost. So I'll put those on the desk behind me and I'll work now on getting the rest of these strings out. Perfect. So that is the rest of them out. So I've got 6 of them all together there. And again, I've just got the ends of these guitars, strings that we can just put on the floor with the rest of it. So now we've got a guitar with no strings on. The next thing I like to do is give it a bit of a clean, especially with this because it is quite dusty and it hasn't seen the light of day. Now you don't really want to put much treatment on them, especially on the necks, because it can warp and bend them. So what I do very, very simply, as you can see, I wear glasses. So I've got a load of glasses cleaners, wipes, just to help get the dust off. You can also use some sort of microfiber cloths and stuff like that, but it's just really, really simple. Just give it a wipe down in all the areas you usually can't get to, in and around the sound hole. I do like to give the frets a little rub down each. Perfect. So we've got the guitar nice and clean. We're all set and ready to put some new strings on. So, now that we've got no strings, we've just cleaned the guitar. The next point is getting the heads, the tuning heads, ready for you to put the strings on. Now, there's 2 ways that people like to set them up, and either way is fine as long as you remember it. For me, I like to turn the top heads away from me, so anti-clockwise, so that the strings get tighter, and the bottom heads, I like to turn clockwise towards me to make them get tighter. So it's just different. So that's one way of setting it up, or you can also have all of them so that they're either anti-clockwise or they're all clockwise tightening, depending on which you prefer. You might be able to see this if I move this in nice and close. You see the heads here, for example, if I show you this one, they've got a hole in where the string goes through, and that's what tightens it. So you feed the string through the hole in the head here, that comes through, and then you, by tightening this, it's wrapping the string tightly around the tuning head, and that's what gives the string the tension so that it can play a note. The way I like to set them up is so that the holes are all pointing in the same direction as the strings are going to go. For example, the strings will run down here, so all the holes from front to back are pointing this way. So I'm just going to set that up now. So I've just set the guitar aside. I'm going to talk to you about the strings. These are the ones I like to use. They just have always worked well for me, so I like them. They're Martin and they're good. The Martin ones, they come in packs of 3, so they got 2 strings in each little packet. And on the front, you can see there, they tell you what the string is. So you got 1st E and 4th D. Now, what's confusing sometimes for some people, the 1st E is actually the thinnest string, so the one right at the bottom of the guitar. So that's, depending on how you want to put them on first, that's the way you do it. I usually work from the 6th E, which is the thickest string, and the 3rd G, starting with those. I usually start from the bottom, from the top of the guitar down. So, in the case, pop it open, unravel the strings, careful of your eyes, and you can see we've got 2 different thicknesses. One thin, one thick. The thickest one, we know because we opened the case, is our 6th E, which is the thickest string, and then your 3rd G is the last bronze one before they become nickel. So I'm going to lay the G out on the floor because I don't need that right this second, and I'm going to grab our 1st E. I'm also going to grab the pin for the bridge. I'm not sure the exact terminology of what this is called, but this is the bridge pin. And as I said, you can see it's got a little channel built into it. So what you want to do with the channel is have it sitting with the channel facing towards where the strings are going. So you can put that in the guitar. Right, so you can see here, it's going to be tough to do one-handed, but I've got the 6th E string. Put it in the top hole, and as I said, with these bridge pins, they have the little channel in. The way you want to do it is that the channel sits in like that and holds the string in place. As you can see, this is what I mean. All the holes are now pointing towards me as if they were going, oh, let me focus that there, yep. As if the strings are coming down. Now you don't have to do this, but it just makes it a bit easier when you're mounting the strings, if they're all pointing this way, to run through. Right, so next what you want to do is you want to start making sure that the pin is in, so you hold your finger on top of the pin and you gently pull the string up to make sure that there's no excess sitting in the hole, which we've got quite a lot of. Just going to feed that up and through, push that down and in, and make sure we've got lots of length left. Perfect. This is nice and straight, so it's already set up easy for us. And what I like to do with this, and I'll show you on my lap, feed it through like that, nice and easy. I leave a little bit of slack up here so that we have enough length for the string to run round and tighten. So now this is the moment where you need to choose which way you want your strings to be tightened. Clockwise or anti-clockwise. As I said, for me, the top ones, I twist them anti-clockwise. So I'm going to start building up the tension. Just want to make sure you have one finger, you need 3 hands to do this properly, but you can keep chopping, changing back. One finger to make sure the string stays pretty much in the neck bridge, and one so that this pin back here on the bridge of the guitar doesn't pop out. So this starts tightening up. Just going to move that back in there. Yeah, starting to get tension on the string, which is good. Then you just want to make sure you're feeding the excess end of the string above the rest of it, so it wraps around nice and neatly underneath it. Just keep tightening until it's roughly tight, so it's not loose, and you can feel nothing more is moving too much. String comes up through the hole and then is wrapped tight around itself. And you'll notice, as I said, you've got to keep the excess of the string on top, because what the string does naturally is it pushes upwards and adds tension to this, so it keeps it in even tighter. So that's how we're going to do the rest of them. Now, when you get to the thinner strings like this, one of the things I like to make sure I do is I leave more excess wire here, so it has a bit more time to, or it's actually wrapped around the tuning head longer. What this does, it just gives you a bit more of a solid hold up this end. So you see I'm moving a bit more slack here, quite a lot more slack actually, I'll ease that off a little. This is just so, because they're smaller, thinner strings, when they tighten up, they do keep losing their tension, just as you heard when I was putting in the A string. Oops. So that might happen as well. So what I was doing there, as I was tightening it up, it flipped over on me and lost its tension completely. So what you have to do then, again, just loosen it off, feed it back through. From this one, instead of holding the pin at the back to start with, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it on the bridge here, so this holds in place tighter down here where I want it, so it doesn't jump as much. All you do is you put quite a lot of pressure. You're not trying to break the guitar, but a fair amount of pressure to hold the string in place on the bridge, just like that, as you can see there, and then you tighten through it. Oh, it tried to jump again, so you just have to push it back down. And as you tighten through this and it stops jumping as much, it will start to tighten itself up. You can hear it jumping out of tune, but again, that's fine. You just want to get that nice tension in the wire. As you move through and you push that, you get something that holds its tension. So the last two strings to be put in now. So one of the fears you have when tuning up a guitar is that you're going to over tighten them and the strings are going to snap. Now one thing you can do to stop this is actually putting a bit of heat into the strings. It's mainly your B and E string, which are the top highest two strings. And the simplest way you can do that is just by rubbing up and down on the strings and just transferring a bit of heat. You'll soon feel them getting warmed up. And then you can feel a bit safer in tuning them up.
Oh, right.
So as you can hear, we've got a beautiful sounding guitar. No we don't, it's horrible. The strings, I've tightened them up so they're not detuning when I tune them up. So they're not, as you heard when I was doing it, stepping back down. So this means I know I'm roughly fairly close-ish to where they need to be for when they're tuning. So what I do is I've got an app on my phone. So now we're going to look at the app. It's called Guitar Tuner, T-U-N-A, like the fish. And this is what it looks like. And all you do is you play a note, it uses the internal microphone on your phone, and it tells you whether it's too low or too high, flat or sharp, and it's wonderful. So now I've tuned all the notes up so they're in tune, but as soon as I play it again, you'll notice that they're out of tune. Now this is just the strings settling into their new tension, what their new normal is. So I just tuned up the whole guitar all the way through, and if I play the notes again, yep, we're flat. So this is the Guitar Tuner app that I said, and I'm going to show you how it works using the internal microphone on your phone, nice and simple. So to play in the low E, and you can see it's got flat and sharp, and it also tells you whether it's too low, or if I tune it up, it tells you it's too high. See, too low or too high. And what you're aiming for is a green tick and sitting on the red line in the middle, and it'll give you a little ding to show that you're in tune. But what will happen is, because it's the first time it's had the new strings on in a while, it takes a while for the strings to settle. So the more you play it, the quicker the strings will get settled and it will stop detuning. So if I play this for a minute. So you played around just a little bit like that. It's started to detune them again, but it's a lot closer to being in tune. What you want to do usually is leave these on for a day or so, just so that it's got some time for the strings to settle in, and so that they're all locked in and tight once you've detuned them. So I'm going to leave mine on because obviously I need to play it in some more. But then otherwise all you do is you get the cutters, get as close to the tuning head as you can and snip them off. And that is how you restring and retune your guitar.
That's all for this show. We'll still keep doing it until we run out of 50p's for the electric meter. So send us in your... Oh no! I'm going to have to phone Alfie. Alfie, stick another 50p in the meter, would you, mate?
Yep, I'll get right on that, Paul.
Cheers.
There is the electric supply.
As I was saying, that's all for our show this week. Remember, send in your stuff. We want your drawings, your photos, your cooking videos, your drama sketches, your songs, your stories, etc. Everyone is welcome to join in Lockdown TV. So look after your loved ones, and we'll see you next time for some more Lockdown TV.